Hello to all the TBR members. This is the last chapter of the series I called GTO Plus, looking at the game through the optimal lens. And in this last chapter, we're going to look at database mode, how to nudlock, and how to edit your tree, in fact. And there is multiple way to do this, and I'm going to try to show you at least what I know. Maybe there's more way to do it, but I think I know pretty much all the ways to edit the tree. So let's just start with the database mode, in fact, and we're gonna pick up where we had left in chapter 3, in fact, where we had built a tree and we had a multiple decision with our strategy and stuff like that, and it was a formation of button versus big blind, where the button was opening the solve for Y holistic range of 19.2% of all ends, and we had input considered optimal big blind calling range, in fact. But now we want to see, in fact, with that formation, because this is a formation, let's just say this is a formation we will want to study a lot, because this is something we're going to see a lot in games, in fact, where we are on the button, everybody has folded to us, and now we open our standard on the button with our range, our holistic range, and now the big blind calls. So we don't want to just look at the queen of diamonds, jack of club, and three of spade here. We want to look at multiple flops, in fact, different flops, so different textures, and yeah, that's a different flop. So you just click on run solver, in fact, and remember we had two tabs here, the basic tab and the advanced tab. We can click on the advanced tab, and normally if this is the first time you click on this tab here, this advanced option window here will be deactivate. So you just have to click here on activate database mode, and you'll be provided with 7 boxes, in fact, and I'm gonna show you what they do. So first of all, clear database obviously is when you want to remove all the flops you have in your current database, in fact. I'm going to show you this later on. Now we have this option here, which is the add X random flops. So let's just say we want to study this this formation here, and we want to look at 10 flops, for example. You just type in the number of flops you want, and you click on add X random flops, and it will generate 10 random flops here for your database to be solved with the current formation and the current options we gave the solver in our tree, in fact. Remember, we had built options, tactics, in fact, strategies for the out of position player and the in position player. So basically, when we're gonna solve those random flops here, those 10 trees, Big Green will use the tree we had built previously, in fact, for all those flops. Now we can clear the database, and I'm going to show you add specific flop, in fact, is the good old way. So you just type jack of club, for example, 5 of spades and 6 of spades. You click add specific flop, and it will add this very specific flops into your database. Just going to clear here. Add current tree, obviously it's going to add the tree you had designed previously, so the queen jack tree here, rainbow. Change all flops to, well, if we add generate 10 random flops, for example, here, and we want to just change all flops for this one here, we click on this, and it will change all the flops for this one here. I didn't never find a utility for this so far, but if I just pause for a couple of minutes and think deeper through this, maybe I'll find a utility for this, or maybe I won't, because I'm such a donk. So and you have this option, import flops from file, and basically this is all the flops file, in fact, that you can import or export from GTO Plus or into GTO Plus, I think should be with the extension text file, in fact. I don't think you can import or export other extension than this. So basically, if we look, let's just say, for example, that we will clear this database here, and we just want to have 10 random flops. We click on Add X random flops, and we want to create a file with those flops here, and we want to paste or send this file, in fact, to a friend. You just go to export flops to file. You type a name, TBR file, for example, and you click on export flops to file. And when you don't input the point, the dot txt, in fact, the text file extension, it won't work. So you have to type in dot txt, and I think you can't have spaces between words. We're gonna try here. Well, you can. So and now it exports the file, and if you want to look at this file, it's a text file. You will find it in the local disk C, in fact, program files, GTO, and it should be in flops, in fact, or maybe in temporary. I know that I modified some options when I bought GTO Plus, so maybe the default folder will be the temporary here. But me, I put those files here, and as you can see here, the TBR file is there. And if we double click on this, we have all the flops that we had in GTO Plus. So now, if we, let's just say, for example, that David C is going crazy with GTO Plus, and he's running simulation 24/7, and now he wants to send me his file, which is a realistic scenario, in fact, because since he bought GTO Plus, now he just forgot that he had a family. So we can just click on the import flops from file box here. Type the name of the file we want to import, in fact. So TBR space, I think, file. And don't forget to put the .txt. And it should import. You click on import flops from file, and it should import your all your flops here. So once you are satisfied with your database, it's the same process as a single tree, in fact. You can decide which target deviation of the expected value you want. Is it 0.5, 0.25, 0.1, 0.01, 0.001? You decide here. You can type it to custom or just use the provided option here. Same thing with the dedicated threads, extensive storage, etc. So once you're done with this, you just click on Process Database. And now it will solve every trees in your database. So basically you just create this just before going to work. If you guys have other work than poker, in fact. And after that, you let it run, and you come back later, and all the tree will be solved. And I'll show you why I think this is very powerful, in fact, because I myself have solved a lot of database, in fact, and I'm just gonna open a new window for GTO Plus here, and we're gonna look at let's just see this one here, and this is the database I solved, and this is the database I'm talking in the TBR thread, in fact, where Hero is in position as the pre-flop aggressor, and he's facing an out of position opponent with no traps in his range who limped call, and the range for villain is based on player pool stats, in fact. So I designed the range based on that, on statistic and what they are 3-betting and what they are not 3-betting, calling, etc. So this range in here should be near the average range I'm gonna face on the online site I play, which represent 30.8% of all hands. So yes, players are limp calling a lot. Well, the really bad players I faced are limp calling a lot. And if we go to run solver here, as you can see, I have this database here with 184 trees in it. And this is the PIO sample I just attached into the thread on TBR. And I run those. And before going further, I just want to go quick on those things here. I forgot the give up after X minutes, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If you click on this thing here and you enter a number, which like 10 for 10 minutes, for example, if the solver or big green, in fact, is taking more than 10 minutes to solve a particular tree, it will just stop and move to the next one, and you'll see this icon here. Solve took too long. On instead of a green check mark, it will be this little clock here, and you got others option here: not enough memory or ignore this file. In fact, and if you right click in front of a tree, it will just ignore it, and you right click the tree itself to delete it entirely. So this is I never used it, but this is how it works. So once your database is solved, what is really interesting with this, and I'm gonna show you, you can click on this thing here, this little icon here. You have the same here, display results in graph. You have some options here that I didn't talk about, but if you hover over, you're gonna see what they do in fact, and you're gonna understand what they do in fact. But let's just click on this thing here. Now you're provided with this window, and you can choose between player 1 or player 2. In this case, we are player 2, so this is what interesting to us, in fact. And once you choose the player, you can see his entire range, specific hand, or aggregate result, in fact. Now, if we look at the entire range, which we have here, this is our range. You can see all the tree here, all the trees, in fact, which are all the flops of the database, and you can classify them by equity, expected value, which one are bet a lot in frequency here, or check a lot, in fact. And obviously, you can go on specific flops right into this grid here, and it will show you on the curve where it is. And if you go directly to the curve, it will just show you where you are, in fact, which flops you hover over in the grid on the right. But what is interesting also is if you go with the aggregate. And now with aggregate, it will just tell you your frequency overall with all those flops, with the range you have, the range villain have right now. So on all those flops that are supposed to represent the whole game, in fact, to some extent, with my range here and the range villain has, I should fire with the 1/3 c-bet here at the rate of 80.7%, and he should check at the rate of 19.3. I just want to make a quick note here, and this is something you'll encounter when you're gonna work with this. If you go, because when you have this thing here, the entire range, you can click on this icon, the square here with this little arrow, and it will just give you the results, in fact, in plain text. And you can copy paste those data here, those results, and paste them in an Excel sheet, in fact. And then you can do average for categories like the average equity, the average expected value, the average frequencies of the 1/3 c-bet, etc. Because you can't have those results in the software in itself. And I asked one of the creator, which is Scylla on 2+2, and He said they will work on this because it should be quite simple to do, in fact. But you don't have this info here, so it's quite interesting to look at, in fact. So, and the results you're gonna have when you do average in an Excel sheet, adding all the numbers, the equity numbers for all the flops divided by 184, for example, will be slightly different from what you're gonna have here. And I don't know why this is happening, but when I say slightly, it's something along plus or minus 0.5% or something like that. But still, it is different. So I don't know if it's because our standard deviation of expected value is not at 0.0000, etc. It shouldn't, in fact, make a difference. But just be aware of this. You will have slight different numbers, but still, what you're looking at here will still be very, very accurate, in fact. And by the way, if you just move with the little ball on the mouse, you can zoom in or zoom out of the tree, and I will show you how to do this in the edit tree mode later on. But let's come back to the aggregate function here. When you can look at all the trees, in fact, and look at your frequency. So basically, on the site I play right now, I'm probably having a c-bet frequency around 70%, something like this. Maybe a tad bit more, like 71, 72. And this is overall, obviously. And in today's standards, those crazy optimal guys would say that I'm c-betting too much, in fact. But obviously, your c-bet frequency will be relative to the players you're facing in the pool you're facing. But still, I should c-bet a bit more, in fact, when I'm facing a limb caller. And there is a reason why I don't c-bet more, in fact. But this could gives you a good idea of your frequency, in fact. And obviously, when you c-bet 1/3 with your range on the flop, you can see that optimally with this range, villain should check raise you at the rate of 13.8%, call at the rate of 48.7%, and fold at the rate of 37.6% optimally. So whenever you're facing a guy who is check raising at the rate of, let's just say, 18%, for example, or 20%, for example, or at 5%, you just know right away that his frequency is out of whack, in fact, and he's deviating a lot from what should be his optimal play. Or when they are folding like 22%, raising at the rate of 5% and calling the rest, you know they are calling way too much, even facing the 1/3. So this could give you a broad idea of an average where the deviation will take form, in fact. Unfortunately, you can't now. Maybe they will correct this in the future. You can go with if you bet, you call. You can click on the turn and see which turns are best for your range on the whole game, in fact. And you will have to do this manually, which takes quite some time, but it's feasible, in fact. So this is how you, and obviously you can select specific hand. For example, if you want to look at ace of club, king of club, and see how they fare on multiple boards, and what are the expected value of this particular hands, which boards are better for the expected value. So obviously an ace king board is the best board here, but if we scroll down a bit, let's just say, for example, a 7-5-5 board is not that good of a board, although we have pretty much good equity here. 6.99 should be below our average expected value, but still this is a board we can fire, in fact, and this is what the big green is doing, and he's firing at the rate of 100%. So he's firing his whole range here, and which is standard, I think. And if we look at the worst board, those will be monotone or two-tone boards, and most likely they will be straight boards. In fact, as we can see, 8, 9, 10 here, 7, 8, 10, 6, 9, 10, 6, 8, 10. So those 3, 4, 6. Generally, you'll find playing with a solver that straight boards aren't boards he likes to fire on, in fact. And it's kind of logical, in fact, if you think about it. So this is what you're gonna be able to do with the database mode. And obviously you can graph all the stuff, equity and expected value, and see with a specific end or your entire range for player 1, for player 2, etc. So there's quite a lot of data in this thing here, which you can play around with. So this is really interesting. So this is the database mode. And I think I pretty much covered all you need to know about this. Just be aware that if you don't save your file once you have solved all those three here, by default they should stay in your database. I don't know where they save the autosave is though. But just be careful. Just save your file, and even if you modify, and by the way, once you have solved all those trees here, you can just click on the part. If you want to look at let's just say 964 rainbow here, you just double click on it, and now you will be you'll have the this particular board to look at and look at your strategy. Where we are going to fire at a rate of 89.1% with our 1/3 CB. And as you can see on this board, villain will raise more than his average, which was something along 15%. So he's check raising a bit more here on this kind of board. Folding a bit less because he's raising a bit more, and calling here the average, in fact. So you can look at specific tree. If you want to go back, you just click on Run Solver and click on a board in your database here. Let's just take this board, which should be a board. Let's see if I studied hard enough. I think his check raising frequency should be below the average a bit here on this board. So maybe not. Maybe it will be close or just a bit below. So if we bet 1/3. Actually he's check raising a bit more than the average, which was 15 point something. It could make sense, in fact, because there is some draws in his range. Anyway, so you understand the point here. So I should study harder, in fact. Now let's just look at what is the not lock option. In fact, let's say, for example, that we choose this board here, the 983 rainbow, and so villain is checking 100% of his range here, and we want to fire our whole range and see what will be the differences in EVs, in fact. Because right now, if you want to know the EV for both player and GTO Plus, first you click on the first decision point for out of position player. You click on this, and you can see that here his EV is 4.37 in the current pot, which is 10 point something, 11.5. And this is the same thing for the in position player. You click on this, and his EV is 7.13. So those two numbers are really those that matter right now. Forget about the EV of a play on the turn and stuff like that. The real EVs that will matter when you modify your tree and you have all the branches either locked or you let them at the optimal play, etc. The EVs that will matter will be those one here, the one for the out of position player and the one for the in position player, because those EVs considered the whole tree, all the decisions in the tree, all the way to the river. How are you gonna play? How villain's gonna play, etc. So although you can look at a specific point in the tree where you're gonna bet a bit more, a bit less, and see, I gain EV on the turn, or I lost EV on the river doing this, you will always need to come back and see versus the optimal tree, the difference here. So let's just say that now in an optimal solution here, we're betting our whole range at 69.9%, right? And our EVs now, our EVs 7.13. Just keep that in mind. Logically, if we bet our whole range here, we should lose EV, in fact. So, because we modify our strategy, and our best strategy should be to just fire at a rate of 70%, for example. So let's just say we want to lock our range and just bet all our range. There's two ways to do this. You can just go on the decision point of the in position player, right click on it, and you're going to see there will be a little lock here, a black lock. Or you can just go here, the lock plus edit decision, and click on this button here, and it will do the same thing. I think it's easier to do it directly in the tree because you precisely know where you are in the decision point of the tree. So once this is done, at the current decision point, you have two options right now because this is how we designed our tree, right? We just gave a sizing for the in position player to c-bet on the flop, and it was 1/3. So, but if you add more than one sizing, they would be shown here or here, and you could choose from those here. But now we have only two options, check or bet. Our current selection now is bet, but if we would like to check all our range, in fact, we could click on check here, and you can see that current selection now is selected and it's check. And there is multiple way to do this. You can go directly in the hand matrix and click on combos here. Just keep in mind that when you click directly on those in the hand matrix, they will you will select all the combos of that particular holdings. For example, if I select pocket tens here, they will select the program, the software will select all the combos. But let's say, for example, I'm gonna do undo here. Let's say that I don't want to check all my tens on this board. So a way to do this, there is multiple way to do this, in fact. You can go in this this thing here, the middle pair, for example, or the over pair, in fact, because we got pocket tens. And you go on the right side here, and in the stripe, you find the combo of, or the combos you want to check, the combos of pocket tens, and you click on them. Let's just say we want to check this one here, check this one here, and check this one here. And as you can see now, pocket tens are checked at some frequency here. This is when you're, let's just say, when a subcategory is really wide, it's going to be hard to do this in the stripe, in fact. So I don't recommend you to go this way here. There is a simpler way to do this, and you just hover over the combo you wanna use. In fact, let's just say pocket nines here, or maybe pocket jacks. Yeah, and you click F9. Notice this little thing here, lock with the interrogation point. You just go on jack, lock, and now it will lock all the particular combos of jack, and you can choose directly there. I want to check this one, and this one. And I want to bet at 100% all the three others. So you just click on the option, bet, which now is our current selection. And you just click on the combos you want to bet. And they will be modified in the end matrix and here also. Let's say that you want to bet overall, you don't want to choose particular combos, but just bet overall in a mixed strategy 75% of the time with pocket jacks here, and check 25% of the time. You can go here in your current selection option here, and once the little circle will disappear, okay, you click on it, and now it gives you percentages option. So you go with the bet at 75%, the check at 25, you click on done, and your current selection now is this one, and you can go over jack, for example, and you'll see that now Big Green is betting at 75% all the pocket jacks and checking at 25% all the pocket jacks here. So this is how you can do this. But now in the example, we wanted to to bet all our range. So instead of going one by one in the end matrix, I found a quicker way. You just go on the stripe here that represents your all range. You go at the very left, you click and you drag all the way to the right. Now all the range is selected, so you bet all the range. So we remember that, and you can unclick F9 also after that if you don't want to use this option. And we had the EV of 7.13, right? When we were betting along 70% of the time. Now we're gonna go in run solver, basic, and we're gonna rerun this thing here. And we're gonna see if our EV now is different. So I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna finish this simulation and I'm gonna come back after. All right, I'm back, and now we're gonna look at the differences in EV. So if you remember correctly, I think Villain has something along 4 well, I don't remember correctly, but if we go for Hero here, we had 7.13, right? And when we weren't betting our whole range, and now we not locked our betting range, and the difference in EV now is 0.13 in fact. So as you can see, the difference is really, really, really small. And in fact, if we are playing, let's just say, for example, we are playing 1-2 live. So we just want to know what it represents, what 0.13 is representing, in fact. And in the 1-2 live game, it's 0.13 of a big blind. So it represents 26 cents, in fact. So basically, when you, instead of rendering your strategy, instead of making it more complex by mixing your betting, your betting range on the flop, if you simplify your strategy by just betting your whole range with the 1/3 here, you're sacrificing 26 cents. So this is really negligible, in fact. And this is why the 1/3 c-bet strategy is gaining in popularity right now, because it's simple. People like simple things, and you don't sacrifice a lot, in fact, in terms of EV. But there is downside from this strategy, and mainly, as I already spoke about, people who like simple things don't really go deeper and further in their understanding of what they are doing, in fact. They just want results, and they just want the simplest thing on earth. And that's what's going to happen, in fact, when they're going to face actions, and when they're going to face player that knows what's going on, they're going to have a really hard time with that 1/3 c-bet strategy. So but you can see the point here, and you can see that Hero is not sacrificing a lot here by modifying his strategy. In a 1-2 live game, he's sacrificing 26 cents. Into a pot of maybe 23 or 22, something along this size. So this is really, really small, right? So basically, this is how you're gonna not lock. And let's just say, for example, now that we have locked the betting range for Hero, and we bet, so we go to the next decision point. This should be the optimal answer from our opponent. Now we can look at this and just assess if our villain in real life will do this. Is he gonna call with pocket 2s here? Is he gonna call with pocket 4s, pocket 5s, pocket 6? Is he gonna call with some small percentage of the time with let's just say I don't know, 8-6 suited, for example. If we go here on 8-6 suited, he should call, in fact, optimally with all his combos, but probably he won't call with all his combos, maybe dropping 8-6 of heart, for example. So this is where it is interesting, because let's just do the exercise. We just lock, let's just do this quickly, right? Let's say, for example, that he's gonna call 5-4 should be a fold probably for him. Let's say for example that he fold 3-2. 3-2. I'm gonna select fold here. 3-2, 4-2, 4-3. 7-5. He's gonna call with this. Call with this. 9-7 is not gonna raise. Let's just say for example that he's calling with this here. Calling with this. All those here. He's raising his sets, for example. Let's just say he's raising all his nuts hands. So 9-9, 8-8, 3-3. 9-8. His overpair. Queen Jack and stuff like that will be calls, for example. Queen T, Queen Jack. He's gonna check call with those. Let's just say, for example, he's gonna check call with those. King Jack also. Let's just say he's calling a lot. King 10. For the sake of the example, he's calling with Ace 9, Ace 8 here. Probably calling with all the aces that are spiking the backdoor flush draw, for example. So let's just say, for example, that he's calling with this here and folding this. We go here. He's calling with this. Is folding Ace 4. We go here. He's folding here and calling with those here. Calling with this. Jack 9. T9. Jack T. Ace 9. Ace 8. Folding the rest here. Let's say, for example, this is his calling range and his raising range and his folding range. And now we can see the frequency. Now he's calling at a rate of 72.1%, folding at a rate of 20.6%. So he's folding less than what he should. In fact, he's calling a lot more than what he should, and he's raising a lot less than what he should. And our EV, as we saw, our EV now with this strategy was 7, right? But now we're gonna run the solver again because we locked villain's range. And although we had sacrificed some EVs by betting our whole range, 0.13 of a big blind, in fact. Now that our villain is not responding optimally versus our 1/3 c-bet size with our whole range on the flop, EVs should change for both players, in fact. And since villain will just raised with such a strong range with no bluffs in it, the EVs will certainly change a lot because now his calling range is really unprotected and weak. Although we can make some very strong hands on the turn, heroes can make some very strong hands also, and basically he's sacrificing a lot of protection when he's just raising all his nuts on this flop, and we're gonna see how it affects EVs, in fact. So now that the tree is finalized, and as you can see, his EV dropped. He was at 4.5. Now he dropped a lot. He dropped 2 big blinds, in fact. Now he's at 3.48, and we should be at 9.02, in fact. 8.02, sorry. We had 7. Well, that's weird. Oh, he was at 4.5, sorry, not 5.5. So okay, it makes sense. So we gain a lot now because as I said, his range is poorly constructed when he raise and he call. So we gain EV here. And so this is mainly the work you're going to do with Nodlock, and this is very powerful because you can do models, in fact, and you are modeling your villain in your games. And although I think the pursuit of the optimal play isn't real, in fact, it's too tough. Sometimes you'll need to do very mixed strategy, and it's humanly unfeasible. So, but when you Nodlock, in fact, it gives you a better idea of a good strategy, in fact. And keep in mind that if I unlocked, let's just say that this is the response we are expecting our villain to do when we are betting the 1/3. And we locked our betting range, right? But if we want to know what is the best exploit versus this range here, this calling range and this, you just unlocked your betting range here and you resolve the tree. I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna come back. All right, guys, I'm back. The solve is finished, and so we wanted to see what would be the best exploit versus this range here. So we unlocked, yeah, the range of the in position player, and surprisingly, the best exploit is just to bet all his range now. When you are expecting your villain to just react this way versus a C bet, 1/3 C bet, which is raising his very strong hands, calling a lot of stuff and folding the obvious, or maybe not, because maybe we could have include 3-2 and 3-4 here, and some backdoor with the backdoor flush draw combos. Well, your best option as hero will be to c-bet 1/3 with your all range. If you use the 1/3, obviously, maybe your strategy is different and you use other sizings, which is pretty okay, in fact. So that's it for not locking. The video is pretty long. It's 40 minutes now in, and I will do an extra later on this week for the edit tree option, which is here. And basically, when you click on edit tree, you just click on import tree, and it will import the tree you have right now on the board. And you can modify directly into this tree. You can zoom in, zoom out, like I explained earlier on. And well, let's just take 3 or 4 minutes to do this. Let's say, for example, that we want to have another option for the in position player as a bet size. So you left click on the decision point, which would be the second here. And now you can do add action. And so if we click on add action, enter a bet size. So we just, let's just say, for example, now we add something like 3.8. So we would need something like 1.6, 7.6. And he's firing. We have the 33 option and the 66 option, and followed by you have options in there. And I would suggest to just click on current advanced settings, so it will use what we had input as options in our tree. And you could remove, if you want, the checking option. So it would force the, let's just say, for example, that we remove this here. It will force Big Green to bet all his range with those two sizings here. And once you are okay with the changes, you just click on accept, accept change here, and confirm. And now if we go here, we'll have two options as bet size, and notice that now we don't have anymore the checking branch, but you will have to resolve your tree, in fact, because you introduced a new variable, in fact, into the tree, and you'll need to resolve. And that's it. This is pretty much how you're gonna edit tree, in fact. You just click on the decision point, and I'm gonna stop the solver. I'm not gonna solve until 0.5. And if we go back here, when you play in that window here and you go to a decision point, notice that in the box here it's gonna move also. So it's the same thing as if you had click on options here. You can navigate. It will give you in fact results data on when you over each point, and you can go deal a turn here, for example, and it will move on the next decision point. In fact, now we are on turn with this this thing here, this 2 of diamonds. So villain is checking 100% of his range, and if we want to look at the options for hero here, we got them in a quick view windows. But if we click on it, sorry, it's gonna move you in the end matrix here and stuff, and you're gonna have more detailed results. In fact, more details. So this is pretty much how it works. I don't personally use this view. I think it can be maybe more quicker to look at lines, I think. And it's basically, it looks like a lot like Cardrunner's EV, the graphic user display in Cardrunner's EV, in fact. So this is how you use the edit tree, and I think I pretty much covered everything. If you guys have questions, just fire them in the thread on TBR, and I hope you guys liked this little series. And if you get some ideas or you want to know some stuff, just don't be afraid to ask me. It will be my pleasure to answer you guys. So good luck on the virtual felt or in real life. And I hope we will have more videos on GTO Plus in the future. Thanks for watching.